There is a photograph taken in the 1960s of Dubai's waterfront that looks, by contemporary standards, like a different country entirely. The creek runs through a low landscape of wind towers and coral brick merchants' houses. Fishing dhows sit in the shallows. The sand reaches almost to the water's edge. 60 years later, that same city stretches skyward in glass and steel for 40 kilometers along the Persian Gulf coast, home to the tallest building on Earth, some of the largest shopping centers ever constructed, and a coastline that has been physically extended into the sea by human hand. What happened in between is one of the more extraordinary urban transformations in recorded history. Dubai sits on the southeastern corner of the Arabian Peninsula, part of the United Arab Emirates, a federation of 7 emirates that came into formal existence in 1971. The city is the capital of its namesake emirate, which has no meaningful oil reserves to speak of. This is the detail that makes Dubai's story unusual. Abu Dhabi, its neighbor to the south, sits atop much of the UAE's petroleum wealth. Dubai had the creek, the traders, and a ruler in the late 20th century, Sheikh Rashid bin Saeed Al Maktoum, who understood that geography and ambition could substitute for oil if the planning was aggressive enough. The creek was everything. For centuries before the city's modern incarnation, Dubai functioned as a trading port. Spices, textiles, dried fish, and most notably, pearls. The pearl diving industry sustained the Gulf's coastal settlements for generations until Japanese cultured pearls entered the market in the 1930s and collapsed the trade almost overnight. What was left was the instinct to trade and a physical port that sat at a useful point on the Indian Ocean's ancient commercial routes. When oil revenues from neighboring emirates began to flow in the 1960s and 70s, Dubai invested them, not into reserve funds, but into infrastructure. The port at Jebel Ali became one of the largest container ports in the world. The airport became a global hub, and then, beginning in earnest in the 1990s and accelerating dramatically in the 2000s, the city turned outward and upward. The skyline that exists today did not evolve organically over centuries. It was built in decades, sometimes in years. The Burj Khalifa, which stands at 828 meters and remains the world's tallest completed structure, was finished in 2010. The Palm Jumeirah, an artificial archipelago in the shape of a stylized palm tree, was largely constructed between 2001 and 2006. The Dubai Mall opened in 2008. Much of what makes this city visually distinctive has existed for less than 20 years. What results is a place of genuine contradiction, ancient trading routes and contemporary finance, a deeply conservative Islamic culture alongside one of the world's most cosmopolitan expatriate populations, neighborhoods where the architecture is 800 years old, standing within sight of buildings that look as though they belong to a science fiction film. About 90% of Dubai's residents were not born here. The emirate draws workers and residents from South Asia, East Africa, the broader Arab world, Europe and beyond, creating a city that belongs to almost everyone and no one simultaneously. To spend time in Dubai is to sit with that contradiction rather than resolve it. The city does not ask for your interpretation, it simply exists, dense and glittering and improbably itself, at the edge of a desert that was not so long ago empty in every direction.